I keep offering, and no one ever takes me up on it.
Only Charlie wants that.
Yeah. Make more money as that though than a trombone player, you know.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're going now. Record. See, told you.
She said that in a very official way.
Yeah.
It's official. We're live now. So welcome. We've got a bunch of great guests today for our happy hour chat. We've got Nick Grinder, James Hall, Seth Weaver, all getting introduced first, of course, because they play trombone. And then we also have John Lake and Jason Yeager, great trumpet player and pianist, respectively. And so thanks all for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Nick.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
So I want to kick it off. I want to go around. I guess it doesn't matter what order we go in, but I'd love for everybody to introduce themselves, tell the listeners who you are, kind of what you play, and where you're at during this whole episode, and maybe what you're drinking for happy hour. I've got a nice bourbon here, so I'll let Nick Grinder. Why don't you kick us off?
Yeah. So I'm a trombone player, and I'm in Washington Heights in Manhattan right now. And I'm right near actually Columbia University. Actually, where Seth Weaver. You live like what, 5 blocks away from me, or 10 blocks, or something like that?
Well, as of 2 weeks ago, I am a Brooklyn resident.
Okay,
So
okay.
I used to live, right around the corner from you, but
Good. But that's actually good for you. Good, congratulations. But yeah, no, I'm here in Manhattan. Just freelance trombone. I had an album come out last year called Fairlawn, about a year ago on the label, and I'm kind of just doing a lot of freelance trombone stuff. Not so much right now anymore. It's pretty, you can't really go anywhere right now in New York City. It's pretty weird, but it's, we're all making the best of it. So.
Indeed. Who wants to jump in?
I'll go. My name's John Lake. I play trumpet. I live in Brooklyn. What up, Seth?
what's up?
We're neighbors now, basically.
Boo.
I have an album coming out. It's my debut album. It's going to be out in late June with Outside In. It's called Seven Angels. It's a quintet record, and I add another horn player for a couple tracks, Michael Thomas, great alto player. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm going through the process right now. I'm getting my artwork finished and getting a press agent and all the really fun stuff that you don't think about when you're, thinking about releasing an album. You're just thinking about writing the music and performing. But yeah, I'm right in the middle of that process now. So it's fun. It's exciting. It's a little scary, but we're going to get through it.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Who's next?
I'll go. I'm Jason Yeager. I'm a pianist and composer. I'm in Harlem. I'm actually not far from Washington Heights, just a little bit south, in an area called Hamilton Heights, or formerly, we're also right next to Sugar Hill, famous Sugar Hill in Harlem from Take the A Train. And I'm not a trombone player, but I am one of many on this call with an ER last name. I'd just like to point that out, that the ERs have it over the trombonists. And I know those are intersecting. There could be a Venn diagram of trombone players and ER. And I wouldn't be in the trombone circle, but I'm in the ER circle. Anyway, this is a crazy time we're living through. My affiliation with the label goes back to this past year when I released New Songs of Resistance in October, an album that I put out with Outside In Music. And then a good friend and colleague of mine, Randall Despommier, and I are releasing a single with Outside In, digital single next month. It's our duo version of the song Everything Happens to Me, which in light of recent events, probably should be Everything Happens to All of Us, because we're all kind of going through this together, this crazy situation. But in any case, that's what's up with me right now. And meanwhile, I'm just trying to keep my teaching going, and I'm doing some online concerts, including a fundraiser for an arts center in my hometown of Framingham, Massachusetts. So I live here with my fiance, who's an amazing singer named Julie Benko, and so at least I have one collaborator with whom I can keep playing in person. But it's been very weird to be apart from everybody and converse via this medium. But I'm grateful that we have it, because without it, what would we do? So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And let's go to James. Oh, James, you're muted. You muted yourself.
No longer muted. Professional musician here, folks. My name is James Hall, and another trombonist here on the Outside In family, and released my last album, Lattice, in 2018 on Outside In. And it's been fun in the couple years since to hear everyone else's stuff coming out. I was just checking out Nick's Farallon album before we got on, and I think the new Alchemy stuff that John Lake was doing with the large ensemble, they were working with Outside In. And yeah, it's just so fun to see all the new stuff coming out. So I was in New York for 8 years, and my wife and I had a baby just under 2 years ago, and she's an art historian and curator and got a job here in Fort Worth, Texas. So we moved, and so now we're Texans. And so a lot of my work now has been bringing my New York projects to Texas. So I just did some projects with Jamie Baum on flute. She came down and we did a little mini tour here in Texas. And my new stuff, I'm composing, kind of swinging the pendulum back towards the modernist contemporary direction. So I'm working with set theory and some 20th century classical techniques, and some chip tunes and programming. And that's all kind of going in a soup, and it's going to become whatever the next thing is. So that's where we are right now.
Nice. And last but I saved Seth for last just because his album is coming out tomorrow.
It is. Yeah, hi, this is Seth. I'm a trombone player and composer arranger. And as Nick just said, I've got my debut album is coming out tomorrow, which I'm super excited about. And this year has been a lot of firsts for me, like recording the record and then working with publicists the last few months. And it's been just great. Tremendous amount of work. I had no idea, how much work it goes into behind the scenes to make an album, besides what like John Lake was talking about. Besides the actual writing of music and recording, there's so much other stuff that I never thought about. Yeah, I'm really excited to have a record out there into the world. And yeah.
Beautiful. And so it's coming tomorrow on all the streaming platforms, and maybe with a slight delay on physical ordering, if you just because of Amazon, slightly delay, but you can check those out. I'm sure you can get them directly from Seth, as with everybody's project, directly from the artist is always the best way to be able to support them. But so now I'd like to go around again, and I think we should all talk about who that you think is the best jazz musician that you would love to be quarantined with. Anyone, dead or alive. Dead or alive, doesn't matter. Or it could be any musician. It doesn't necessarily have to be a jazz musician. But I think in this time, it would be nice, like for some of us that are single note players, to maybe have a collaborator to play with. But so anybody want to jump in there? Oh, James, you're muted again.
I'll jump in again. I don't know the guy personally. Maybe some of you have worked with him, but just in terms of like the times we're in and who I'd like to collaborate in an age of quarantine, probably like Rand Blake or someone in the third stream world, dark, murky, film noir, duo partner on piano. That's probably who I would pick.
I'd like to jump in. I know Rand personally, and I can tell you Rand is a great hang. You would have to go to Massachusetts and go to his basement lair in Brookline, Mass, and he would give you some Jack Daniels. You'd watch some film noir, probably like a 3-minute segment on repeat, and eventually you'd play some killing dark noirish improvisational music.
That sounds perfect. That's what I want.
Whoa. That's funny. Who wants to jump in? Come on, Nick Grinder. I know you have someone.
I was thinking about I was just listening to Ted Poor's album. He has a newish album out with Andrew D'Angelo. And it would be fun. I mean, just like the sound that he gets out of the drums is I don't know. It's really cool. Like he really makes it not sound like drums in a way. Like it almost sounds like a tonal instrument, not just in the way that he's like, oh, here I am playing whatever Anthropology on the drums. Like it's just a really he gets a really interesting sound that I think that it'd be interesting to do with trombone. I mean, I don't know him. I'm sure he's a great guy. I'm sure it would be fun.
It's from Rochester.
He's from Rochester. So, yeah, Canada. He's a Canadian. I don't know.
Oh, come on.
But yeah, I think, I don't know. I listened to his album a couple times on this, over the past few days. And not only does it really fit the kind of how everything is right now, it's really interesting. It's kind of beautiful, really wide open music. I think that would be fun. Just immediately when you had suggested that, I was like, man, it would suck. I mean, obviously, this is a pretty terrible thing to say something about this who's not around anymore. But, we all know Miles Davis had a pretty maybe difficult personality, to say the least. And it would be pretty insane to be stuck with somebody like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just really do that full roller coaster of whatever kind of goes along. So I think that would maybe fun is not the right word, but it would definitely be that would be something.
It would be something. It would be a challenging time, I think.
It would be very challenging. I think that's the right way.
If I may, and I totally have the same impression from what I've read about Miles. I was talking with a jazz critic and historian that I'm friendly with up in Boston, and he was saying that his experiences, he saw Miles in the 70s at this small club, and late 60s, early 70s, the small club called Lenny's on the Turnpike north of Boston. And Miles would always be the first one to get to the club before the rest of the band, at least always on these two occasions. And he would be there. This friend of mine would be there early as well, because he wanted to, check out all the music, and he was passionate. And they would have these lovely conversations at the bar, and he never got the sense that Miles was a difficult person. He never cursed. He didn't talk shit about people. Speaking of cursing, that really kind of surprised me. This was a conversation I had with this guy like a month ago. So I had the same impression, but some people had different experiences. Still wouldn't want to be quarantined with Miles, but
right.
Anyway.
I mean, yeah. Actually, I had a funny thing. But yeah, this alto player, Bobby Percelli, who's pretty old, probably Percelli or whatever. He's an older guy, but he actually heard Miles a lot, and he heard the kind of blue band. The first short quintet. He actually heard them a ton. And he sort of said the same thing. He was maybe known as being kind of weird on stage or whatever, but he's like, man, he was so great on stage. Just, his personality seemed great. And he said that the band, he was like, yeah, that album Kind of Blue, like that was nothing compared to what they were doing on stage. And to me, that just, we all, it's almost cliche to say you like that album, but I mean, I love that album. And I mean, that's a great album. That's a great album, and it's kind of amazing for me to even think about like how could something be better than that, but of course it could be. And of course I don't, of course I believe it, especially with that band and especially with him.
For sure. Jason, since you interjected, who would you want to be stuck with? I need a pianist to be stuck with.
Right. I know. I was thinking about that. Well, I am really grateful to be stuck with my fiance, who's, as I said, is a singer. But since I already have a singer, I think, I don't know if you've all been experiencing mood swings and ups and downs, and I certainly have been. So I would pick like somebody who has the most joyous sound that I can think of, and also somebody who I think would be a lot of fun to hang with. So I would say Cannonball Adderley. 'Cause I would also love to play with him. And I feel like he's also got the kind of rhythmic drive and aliveness that it would be like having a drummer and a bass player, even just having him on alto. So I would love to play with Cannonball. That's who I'd want to be quarantined with.
That's a good answer. It's a pretty good answer. What about you, John?
I was just thinking kind of along the lines of Nick, like a lot of great jazz musicians are just like, man, I think it would be kind of not that fun to hang out with them for a variety of reasons. They're such strong characters, and what that can kind of do to somebody's personality. But one guy that I think of a lot, who was one of my former teachers, that I would love to spend more time with is Art Landy. He's a piano player out in Colorado, and he used to record on ECM back in like the 80s, recorded with Jan Garbarek and a bunch of different, and Kenny Wheeler. And, you know, in addition to being an amazing piano player, he plays drums. It would be be a lot of fun to play with him. He's a great accompanist, and he can kind of go in any direction, you know, free, modern jazz, or he can play stride. He can do anything, man. It's really amazing. And he also loves to just sit around and watch movies and stuff. So I would definitely say Art Landy.
Wow, nice. That's a good answer too. Just was talking to some people when I was in Arizona. I guess he spends his summer or winter there in Arizona, in Phoenix.
I don't know about that. Maybe. I really don't remember. I should call him.
Anyway, Seth, who's your quarantine buddy going to be?
Well, I was thinking my next project, which is kind of on hold for now, at least recording it, is going to be more folk music. And one of my heroes since I was a kid was Chris Thile. And he's, I guess, only slightly older than I am, but it would be really amazing to work with him and something in that vein. So yeah, Chris Thile would be mine, and he's a really nice person as well. So good hang for sure.
Nice. You don't want to record an album right now? After about to
Well,
put
I
out
would.
that record?
Yeah, well, yeah, I need a few months off, and then I'll be ready.
Just a few months off.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Maybe that's what we're all gonna do, right?
Yeah, right? There's going to be so much music ready to go by the end of this.
Absolutely.
I saw you on Instagram, Seth. I saw you were writing big band charts.
I am. I have a whole. Well, this is for next year, but I'm gonna do another big band record next year, and I've just finished the first track on the album. So yeah.
Nice. So yeah, the other day I got a kind of a crazy text from one of our other clients from the West Coast, and they were at Whole Foods, and they sent a picture of some armed guards standing outside of Whole Foods to protect the shoppers and prevent people from stealing any toilet paper. But so that was crazy. And then Remy LaBeouf yesterday or the other day was saying that his sister got a ticket for jogging and not social distancing far enough. And that was in San Francisco. And so I was wondering what other crazy shit you guys have seen over the last couple of weeks, or if anything at all.
Yeah.
From your
man, I haven't seen anything like weird. You know, people are wearing masks here in New York, in Brooklyn. Like I was out today, I took a bike ride, and I kept my distance from everybody. You know, but it's been really calm and mellow. I haven't seen anything. I mean, it's a little out of the ordinary for sure, but I haven't seen anything that really made me, you know, raise an eyebrow and say that was weird. I don't know.
Yeah, same thing up in my neighborhood. It actually, I remember, I think it was, we had a total lockdown, I guess, on Sunday is when it happened, when we sort of told not to go out at all. But up until then, it was kind of crazy how many people were in the park and stuff like that. I mean, felt like everybody was almost treating it like a vacation in a way, but you know, obviously we're not doing that anymore. But yeah, it just seems, you know, going out, walking around, it's like, yeah, a couple people are wearing masks, but it's just weirdly quiet, at least in my neighborhood. Like it doesn't seem strange, but there's just, you know, considerably less people. But other than that, it's fairly normal, which is kind of weird in its own way. You know, feels like something should be different.
Right.
I got to second what Nick said, because I live not far from Washington Heights, and until Sunday's order went into effect, I felt like most people in my neighborhood were not taking the threat of this so seriously. At least that's not how it appeared, because everything seemed to be going on kind of as usual. But now I see fewer people out generally when I go on walks and stuff, and more people protecting themselves. I guess a weird thing, I think it was just yesterday, no, it must have been 2 days ago, seeing a couple guys on the street, like sharing a bottle of Jack Daniels or something. And I was like, oh, wow, some people are just, you know, speaking of happy hour, like that's very important to some people. So.
It's true.
Well, I'm a very quiet town called Millbrook, about an hour and a half north of the city with my in-laws. I've been here for about a week and a half, and things are pretty much the same up here. But they've had, I go on these runs during the afternoon, and whenever you see somebody, you go to the other side of the street. Everyone's super friendly, but you just distance yourself as much as possible from the other person. It's really interesting. Just like it's a weird, like, hey, how's it going? But also like you're getting far away from them. Yeah, so it's kind of strange in that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just the rationing on our end. It's, we're in Tarrant County where I live, is we only have something like 20, 30 confirmed cases. So it's small potatoes comparatively. But it is a little weird to see people like spaced out 6 feet in the grocery aisle. And I've also noticed people are like going the extra mile to try to be friendly when you're on a run and you see them, because they can't talk to you intimately. So they'll like really wave hard at you.
Exactly.
Oh man, that's funny. So Nick kind of mentioned something that was going to be my next question. He said he was checking out the new Ted Poor record, but I was wondering if anybody has been listening to anything that they might want to share, anything interesting or new. Or
yeah, I'm jumping on since I mentioned I was doing the sort of synth chiptunesy. I'm working with my Game Boy from childhood and trying to program it with pure data and some stuff. So I'm trying to research other composers who have incorporated electronic stuff into their music, more so than just like, say, electric keyboard or something. So I've been diving into Messiaen and the Turangalila symphony that he did with Owned Martineau, and some of those things, just to hear how other composers are trying to incorporate electronic sounds into contemporary classical composition or others. So him and Stockhausen and some of that stuff, which has been really fun. It's just a different sound world than the more jazzy stuff I had been listening to the last couple of years.
nice.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I've been listening to this Ted Poor album called You Already Know, which kind of just came out, has Andrew D'Angelo on it, which is, great. Also that band Human Feel, also having Andrew D'Angelo. It's a great, it's got Kurt Rosenway, Chris Speed, Jim Black. I've been getting into some of that. I've been listening to singers a lot. I've been trying to learn tunes. I feel like sometimes I don't have time to just learn tunes, and so I've been really trying to like just go back and do that. So I've been listening to singers. Listen to that Lester Young, A Musical Romance thing with Billie Holiday, Lester Young. So I've been kind of trying to like just trying to take down the tunes that I don't know from that album and do, just like kind of not basic jazz stuff, but just like trying to get in the habit of really playing tunes again and really getting all that stuff happening. I've also been listening to that Wojciech Berg, that opera.
Wozzeck.
Yeah, that's there was a performance. The Met, I think the Met did a performance of that, and I missed it. And I've been trying to like get into that whole. I have never really been a huge fan of opera, and I'm kind of trying to get into it a little.
I love that stuff, man. We just saw The Nose 2 years ago at the Met. Is also like that kind of modernist vein, and it's just so bonkers when you hear, especially when it's combined with a human voice, because it has different limitations,
Yeah, and I mean, just an opera, like it just makes me. To me, it's like, man, it sounds antiquated isn't the right word, but when you're, there is a certain sound to me that does sound a little antiquated about opera, but then when you're pairing it with all this crazy stuff that the orchestra is doing, and just crazy writing, it's a very cool juxtaposition.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's what I'm into right now.
Nice. Anybody else have anything they've been checking out? I've been checking out that new, it's been a throwback to childhood almost, the new Mel Dow, Redman, Brian Blade thing with, wait, I missed somebody. McBride. Yeah, McBride, that quartet.
Wow.
They have a new project. Well, the single came out, but they got a record coming.
Oh,
I've been checking that out. It takes me back to another time.
Totally.
no, man.
I've been checking out the new Matheny record, From This Place.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's good.
which
Likewise.
is stunning with the Jim McNeely arrangements and my friend Linda O holding it down on bass. And yeah, it's definitely, I mean, Matheny's one of those guys who has an instantly recognizable sound, but he seems to always be stretching and trying something different and creatively new, and yet still manages to be accessible and easy to take in on a first listen. And I'm not even a huge Matheny connoisseur. I only have a couple records, but I was very impressed with that new one. Really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's great album. I've been transcribing Bud Powell, trying to get my piano game together.
Oh, on piano, not on trombone.
Nice.
Yeah, on piano. So that's my kind of quarantine project. Is
Any
At least-
particular Bud? What Bud?
Celia. That solo. I think
That's a class.
Yeah, it's such an amazing solo, and the comping's pretty basic. So who knows if I'll get it together? But
But I mean, if you can't mention Celia without talking about the version, why am I blanking on this name? Okay, never mind. Moving on from that thought. Hello.
Chick Corea version? Is that what
No.
you're saying?
Played with Wynton, Kenny Kirkland.
Kenny Kirk,
Of course.
Kenny Kirkland, yeah, the Kenny Kirkland version.
absolutely. Yeah.
It's
Wow.
Anyway, sorry. That's just something I always show to my improv classes because they're like, they have no idea that like a bebop tune could be translated in that way. So anyway, moving on. Great story, Nick.
It was good. I liked
so-
it. It was good. It was good.
So I'm
Yeah.
wondering a little bit, and some of you guys have talked about it some already, but I'm wondering if anybody else has like a quarantine project or some things that they're really working on. Seth's transcribing, working on a new big band record. Sounds like he's winning in the highest pile, biggest stack of projects. But what are the rest of you guys working on?
I mentioned earlier, I'm really focused on getting this current record out, and all the little busy work that goes along with that. I was involved in a project. I don't know if you guys saw. Chad Lefkowitz Brown had a virtual big band recording that just went. It was on Good Morning America this morning, which is pretty cool. And I was like in the top left corner, like in this area over here. But other than that, man, I've really just been kind of chilling. I actually haven't played my horn in like a week and a half. It's kind of been great. I don't know if you guys have experienced that as well, but I'm loving it. There'll be a time to get back to it, but I'm just kind of taking it easy right now.
Nice. That's good. You need that too. Balance is hard to come by.
Yeah.
Before all the isolation and whatnot, I had just started to finally transcribe one of my favorite Charlie Parker performances, which is the 1942 Cherokee, where it's just him and the guitarist and the dude playing brushes on a phone book or whatever. And so I've been working on that and some other little transcription things. And I've been getting really into this 20th century composer, Federico Montpu. And I've been playing some of his piano music, in particular this short 3-part piece called Paisajes, or Landscapes. So I'm trying to stay busy at the piano, and since I'm at home with the instrument all the time, that's been what I've been enjoying most, I guess, in terms of my music.
Great.
Yeah, I've been just trying to get a really good practice schedule going on. I play a lot of bass trombone, and I've really been trying. It's always sort of a challenge for me, how much of each horn to sort of play. And so I've been really trying to, trying to get a good balance with that stuff, and also kind of relax, because this is a stressful time, at least for me. I don't know. It's especially, we're mostly performers, and losing work, not performing and not having that kind of income come in is, it's stressful. I mean, it's also the whole thing about, there's a pandemic going on. It's a lot to deal with. But I've also been trying to write this. For a long time, I've been trying to write a trombone quartet, a couple things for trombone quartet, just like original kind of stuff for it. So I'm kind of gonna spend this time to go back to that and try to write at least a couple things for quintet and try to make that happen. So
Well, you got your quartet right here. Oh wait, quintet. Never mind.
that's okay. I can just listen. Well, no, actually, I guess. Yeah.
Gotta conduct.
Anybody else have anything that they're working on? Seth, we kind of already know your projects, but
Yeah, I've been doing a trombone organ is kind of my thing, right? Because now I moved to Texas and everybody down here goes to church. And so there's a lot of organists that are really excited if you suggest that you have some rep that you want to play with them. So I've been going up to Denton where Nick's partly based now and checking out some scores there and finding stuff that's interesting, some contemporary, or I should say 20th century, like Czech and Austrian composers, and getting my trombone organ thing on and working that up.
Nice.
So it's just another little sort of facet of the freelancing thing.
wow, I never thought of that. I mean, one of the most biggest concerts, had the most effect on me in college was we did Bach's Passacaglia Fugue in D minor with organ and trombone choir in college.
Oh, cool.
That was a pretty good trombone and organ piece. It was pretty darn loud.
Yeah.
All that together. Well, anyway, I'm really glad you all could be here tonight to chat a little bit and, take our minds off of things for a second. And so I just want to go around one more time and let everybody, either mention some projects or things that you haven't gotten a chance to talk about yet, or direct people to where you might want them to listen to your music, or Instagram, or wherever you want to connect with people. So James, why don't we start off with you?
JamesHallMusic.com, but my stuff that's up there right now is a little older. So check out everyone else here on the feed. They've got newer stuff that's really, really fantastic. So I recommend all of it.
Seth?
Well, I got a record. My debut record's coming up tomorrow. It's going to be available everywhere, and you can check out my music online at Seth Weaver Music on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and sort of Twitter sometimes.
Nice. John?
I just want to say, first of all, to Seth, my mom, I played your single for her and she really liked it. So what do you have that going for you?
Should mention there are two people that on this call that are on my record. Nick Grinder's playing lead trombone and John Lake's playing lead trumpet. So they do an amazing job, and you'll be able to hear that at tomorrow.
It's a great record. I mean, the single was fantastic. So
yeah, single sounds great.
Thank you.
Thanks, James, for mentioning that I do have a big band that I run that I forgot about called the New Alchemy Jazz Orchestra. And we have 4 singles that came out at the end of last year, at the end of 2019 through Outside In. And you can check those out anywhere that you get music from.
There's videos of those too, right?
Yeah, there's videos on YouTube of those as well. So we're really proud of those. And the new record will be out June 26th. It's called 7 Angels. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Great. And where's the best place for people to find you if they want to find you?
Oh, good question. And I live in Brooklyn. No, but sorry. Okay. On johnlakejazz.com. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah.
Great. Jason?
Nick, thank you so much for putting this together. It's great to connect with these wonderful artists and all of you guys. And my music you can find at jasonyeager.com. The latest album, the one I released on Outside In, is called New Songs of Resistance, and I have a single coming out April 28th on Outside In of the classic standard Everything Happens to Me. And just really grateful to be on here. Also, I'm wondering, I got to play with a few of you. I was grateful to have the opportunity to record on the next Live at Pinch recording session. And I'm wondering if there's a release date for that, Nick. Is that going to be launched at some point soon?
Yeah, no, we're working on the mixes now. Some of you have gotten mixes, some of them, but we're about halfway through the mixes. He's been working remotely, obviously. So it's taking a little longer to get the back and forth, but we're about 3 or 4 songs into that. And so your guys' tunes, I'm sure Seth had a tune, Nick had a tune, Jason had a tune on that session. So that'll be as soon as I can after I get the mixes done.
Of course, yeah.
Some videos to go along with those as well. And Grinder?
Yeah, I have an album that came out last year called Farallon on Outside In. I have an album too that came out a couple years ago called 10 Minutes. You can find both of those on my website, nickgrinder.com. I also have a Facebook, and I have an Instagram. A lot of cat stuff on the Instagram, so come check it out. It might be nice. And yeah, that's my thing right there. So go check it out. Send me an email, and I'll send you a physical copy with no coronavirus. I promise.
We'll disinfect it before you put it in the mail.
I'll disinfect it, everything.
Lick it.
Wear a mask.
Amazing. Well, thank you all so much for being here, and we'll catch you guys around. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks.
Same
Thanks,
to all
Nick.
of you. Thanks,
Guys.
Nick. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Bye.